Welcome back to the Burn, everybody. I am Ryan Van Deaver, and I am joined with Jordan Van Deaver, and we are presented to you by Hot Zone Sports. The information that you need to know, built with you in mind, for the people, by the people, and with the people. Join the Hot Zone Sports community today. Remember, our show is wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. So if you could rate and review us, we would really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the show and then hit that notification bell so you'll always know when our content drops. It really helps us out a lot. So make sure you like the video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And wherever you like the social media, we are there. That's right. You can find us at Hot Zone Sports on all social media platforms. So it has been a minute, but we are back. Kind of felt like a while there. It's been a while since you've been on the show. What you been up to, man?
Really nothing. I've just been watching the playoffs. Then we had the vacation. So I guess it's not nothing. I did something.
Gaming out on the Xbox, NCAA, NBA 2K. Yeah, you've been doing a little bit of everything. And by the way, it's no surprise, but we should just do a nice little congratulations because somebody graduated. How's it feel to be a graduate?
Not ready for adulthood, but it's good to get out of school.
Yeah, adulthood is not fun. I can speak for all of the older generation out there. It kind of sucks at times, but hey, being an adult, you get to start doing your own things. But hey, let's just go ahead and move on. We're going to be talking about what we're going to be doing for the Kansas Collegiate League Baseball and the upcoming episodes and reels and what you can expect. We're going to be covering the NBA finals just like everybody else, but ours is going to be just a little bit different. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to talk about where we were for this past week and a half, what we were doing. And we're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves continuing problems. Everybody thought when Acuna and Bryce Elder came back that everything was going to be sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops, and it has not been anywhere close to that. I'm not sure what the Braves are doing, but they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn at this moment in time. Oh, I didn't mean to laugh. Yeah, I did actually. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So the graduation vacation celebration, that's what I was calling it. We decided to drive down to Arlington, Texas because there's somebody on this set. You might know him as Jordan. He is a Dallas Cowboys fan. What was it like to see AT&T Stadium?
I've been watching the Cowboys for years. You only see the inside of the stadium, maybe the outside as the game's beginning, but it's different to see it in person. We got to see all around the stadium. I mean, it's a big stadium.
Yeah, we even got some pictures, and then I wasn't quite sure how AT&T Stadium was laid out, but if you looked a little bit to your right, you would see the Texas Rangers Stadium, and right next to it, and I mean right next to it, was their older stadium, and that was pretty cool to see. We got plenty of pictures of that. Um, it was a great experience. And then we go to Houston, Texas. We stay there for a night, and then we go to Galveston. We hang out, and then the bang 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 part of the cruise is the cruise. We got on a cruise for was it 4, 5 nights, and got a ton of pictures. Even got you to dress up in a suit, mate.
Doesn't happen often.
No, I even saw you took some pictures of yourself in the bathroom, looking all fresh and fly. You were proud of yourself, and I was proud of you. I was proud of my other son too, Jace. Big shout out. Gotcha, boy. But yeah, that was that was a long time coming. If you want to know the details as to why you can DM me. I'll tell you the details why it was a long time coming, but I'm not going to get into that part of my life. But it was great to finally be able to spend some time with my kids on a cruise on a vacation that was just electric. You know, I remember going down the slide on the cruise. It was just, yeah, that jacked my back up for a couple hours. That was not any fun, but you know, you do what you can for your kids. And I did. I broke my back in half just for you, Jordan. I hope it made you feel good.
It did.
I'm glad. So let's move on to the KCLB, the Kansas Collegiate League Baseball. It is a summer league here in Wichita, Kansas, and it is a 7-team league. And really, what else can you say with a league that only has 7 teams? You're going to be able to get to know your opponent pretty dang well. You're going to be playing, I think last year they played 43 games. Now, the season was supposed to be starting tomorrow, but due to inclement weather or Hawaii type rains, I'm not sure if it's going to. All I can do is tell you that I messaged the commissioner and to see if the season was going to be delayed, and he said not sure yet, just depends on the weather tomorrow. League play starts tomorrow, so we will keep you updated on that. And if you're not following the KCLB on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, just go ahead and do so. That way you can get all of their updates. But when it comes to what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking to players, we're going to be talking to the managers, we're going to be talking to the general managers. We're going to basically formulate their journey and how they got to where they were. So whether you're a senior in high school or whether you're a 4-year starter at Austin P University, we're going to get to know your story. There's at least a couple of players that are from Japan. If you know anything about Japanese baseball players, they are fundamentally sound, and so we're going to get their journeys. Obviously, translator, maybe Google Translate. I'm not sure if there's going to be a translator there. We'll find out once we get there. But yeah, we're going to be doing live streams as well. And yeah, it's going to be super fun, super awesome. I can't wait for it. And so the next big thing that we got going on is Thursday night, NBA Finals. So what is the first thing that goes through your head when you think Pacers, Thunder, NBA Finals, Jordan?
I start to think how the Pacers get here. I mean, aren't they the sixth seed? They made it this far, but as we've seen from OKC in the playoffs, they have depth in their roster. It's going to correlate to the whole game. I mean, they average 33 points per game as a bench. You don't see that from a lot of teams. But there's been teams in the playoffs that have lacked size. The Pacers have that on the other teams. They have Halliburton that's tall for a point guard. Siakam, Miles Turner. Siakam's been big for the Pacers. I look forward to seeing him finals.
What I found absolutely hilarious, and no, I don't wish for people's downcomings or whatever, but when the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals was handed out, there were pictures out there of Halliburton. He for sure thought that he was going to get that award. He didn't. It was awarded to someone else. But that was funny to me. And I don't know, this when I think of this series, this doesn't take me back to like 90s type defense, but this this type of defense that the Thunder play is just absolutely suffocating. Like you have Lou Dort going up against Ant Edwards. Ant Edwards, he even tried to back him down, but Lou Dort is like a massive freaking linebacker, and Lou Dort wouldn't even move when Ant was trying to back him down. And it's just like the depth that the Thunder have. They can play 10 players easy. And I'm not sure if the Pacers can do that. Like, for one, if you think that the Pacers, if they get stuck playing half court basketball, are they going to win this series?
No, the depth for the Thunder, like you said, it's crazy. I mean, the Pacers can't do much with their depth in their roster. You can slide Matherin in there, but other than that, you don't really have anything else. You have year 2, year 3 players, but they haven't developed the way they have supposed to. I would rely on your starting 5 to grab the lead early. That's all you can do, or just keep the game close. A lot of teams in the playoffs facing the OKC Thunder haven't kept the game close, and then the bench came, and they overruled them in every single part of the game. Yes, SGA had his bad game. People are worried about that, OKC fans. But if you've seen him in the playoffs, he's the best player on the team.
Tyrese Halliburton had a bad game. Shea had a bad game. It happens. It's the playoffs. You're not going to be able to bring it every game. I mean, it's not like prime Michael Jordan when you're scoring 40, 50 per night in a flu game, okay? You're not going to have that. I don't care about the comparisons side by side if Ant Edwards looks like Michael Jordan or not. It's not real, guys. It's not. It's not real. So, one thing I did want to touch on is so you remember the Miami Heat, okay? When you had Bosh, you had Wade, and then LeBron James went and joined them. And that was the beginning, really, of the super team era, right? And I, I think the NBA has gone away from that. You know, teams are still going to try to bring in players to form super teams. Like there's rumors out there about KD joining the Pacers or Oklahoma City. Ha ha ha. Internet. Yeah. All right, trolls. I got you. But that's not going to happen. But I think we have the NBA has fully shifted to going back to the early 2000s, the 90s, where there was depth. You were able to play 10 guys. The championship teams were able to play those 10 guys that were on their teams, and they won. The guys that teams that had the most depth ended up winning, and that's what we're seeing from the Pacers and the Thunder right now.
Yeah, super teams have failed the past few years. We saw Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. A lot of people thought that would work out, but again, they didn't have depth in their roster, which hurt them badly. And then, of course, Luka and LeBron James. That worked out pretty well, but regular season is different than the playoffs. Super teams haven't been working. I think of depth of better than a super team because your starters aren't going to be in all game. So when they're out, you don't want to be losing because we've seen depth in these playoff runs. last few years. OKC's got crazy depth. I don't know what the Pacers are going to do about that. That's up to the coaches, but they got to figure something out for the Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are fast paced with young point guards. And I mean, it's 25-year-old Tyrese Halliburton, 26-year-old Gilgis Alexander. The Pacers, they're seeking their first NBA crown in a 58-year history, while the Thunder, who moved from Seattle in 2008, how can I ever forget that? They t- they took the franchise's only title as the Supersonics in 1979. But when it comes to the new blueprint to the league, the years of the super teams and stacking players, it's just not as effective as it once was. I mean, you had Miles Turner come out today and say the new trend now is kind of what we're doing. OKC does the same thing. Young guys get out and run, defend, and use the power of friendship. I don't know if I don't know if I would use the power of friendship, but
Power
I
of teamwork.
understand having good chemistry. What's your take on that?
I think he was meaning teamwork by power of friendship. It's good to be friends with your teammates. You don't want your teammates fighting. Jordan Poole and Draymond Green situation. But teamwork leads to championships. A lot of people can say that's not true, but it is. We've seen the past few years, it's good teammates can get the game done. I mean, you see Siakam and Halliburton. Halliburton likes to share the ball. That's what I like about him, but he just wasn't doing anything in the last playoff series. I would be happy not to win the MVP in the last playoff, just to win that series because he was just not playing the greatest. Siakam deserved that MVP. I don't know why he was thinking he was gonna get it. I didn't think for a second he was gonna get it. He didn't do nothing. He just passed the ball. I
Yeah.
mean, you're gonna love that from your point guard. Either way,
Now, Indiana's only trip to the NBA Finals came in the year 2000. It was a loss to the Los Angeles Lakers, but the Pacers also won three 1970s titles in the American Basketball Association, which sent four teams into the NBA in 1976. All right, enough about history. Gilgis Alexander could become the first league scoring champion to win an NBA title in the same season since 2000. Who was that, do you ask? Shaquille O'Neal led the Lakers, ironically, past the Indiana Pacers. But with forwards like Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, SGA, that is a formidable trio. You could even call it a super team. But the Thunder swept Memphis in the first round of the playoffs. They outlasted Nikola Jokic in 7 games, then dispatched Minnesota in 5. The Pacers, they went 50-32 behind 20.2 points, 6.9 rebounds a game from Pascal Siakam, and 18.6 points, 9.2 assists, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.5 steals a game by Halliburton, who helped the USA win Paris Olympic gold last year. But in Indiana, they eliminated Milwaukee and Cleveland in 5 games. That Cleveland series just surprised me how they just got dominated. And then they took New York out in 6. So my question to you is, who do you think has had the harder or more difficult path to the NBA Finals?
it would be a tricky one. The Pacers got past the Cavs, which the Cavs starting five is crazy. I mean, none of them are gonna get the MVP, not even close. But you have like two or three players averaging over 18, 20 points. I didn't think they were gonna lose in the playoffs. Like, of course they're gonna lose. I didn't think they would get eliminated. They're the first seed. I mean, a lot of first seeds don't make it that far in the playoffs.
No.
They show how good they are in the regular season, then they don't get far in the playoffs. It just happens. But I think it's an equal match on it because OKC got past the Nuggets, and we all know the Nuggets. They're a great team. They've got depth, just like all these good teams in the playoffs. But I don't know. It's a hard one. I knew the OKC Thunder were going to get to the finals. Everybody knew that. Some people didn't want it because OKC probably eliminated their favorite team. Happens.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. It I think it's getting past Jokic was probably the biggest challenge that the Thunder faced. Um, but going back to OKC, they beat Indiana twice in the regular season, with SGA averaging 39 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds, while Halliburton struggled, averaging 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. The Pacers, however, averaged 117.4 points a game in the playoffs and own the top shooting percentage overall at 49.7% from 3-point range. So, my biggest thing is this: since January, these are the two teams that have the best records in the NBA. So that tells you everything you have to know about what what you need to know about coming into this series. It's just the best of the best, and I'm just not quite sure that the Pacers are going to be able to beat that defense of the Thunder, because Indiana plays offense like chaos. It's absolutely pure chaos. They're running all over the court, and then you you see all these behind the back passes, and you don't know where it's going to go, and then you get Miles Turner up on the perimeter for three. Is he going to be able to continue to to knock down these shots? Because the Knicks, they had these same exact shots that were open, but they missed them. And so you really have to wonder if the Pacers are actually going to be able to continue to play at this chaotic pace. I do know that if OKC makes them play a half court game, they're not going to win this series. It'll be competitive. It'll still go 5 or 6 games, but I don't think the Pacers are going to win this series. Sorry, Indiana fans. I'm a Colts fan. You all know this, but I just don't see it. I don't think that they have the depth that the Thunder have.
Yeah, the depth is a huge issue for the Pacers. They've had a great year. Their their bench doesn't average as much as the OKC Thunder does. That's a huge problem. But I think it's not much offensively that the OKC need to worry about too. We saw the Pacers in the last round. They got a hurry defense. They have a lot of players that can play defense. We saw Neesmith. He was good. He contributed. And then you have Siakam. Siakam, I think, is a great player. And then Miles Turner. You got to worry about Miles Turner defensively and offensively. You have to worry about him on the perimeter. Not a lot of, actually, a lot of centers these days can shoot threes. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think it could be a close one. But the only reason I will say OKC is going to win the finals is because of Tyrese Halliburton. You said he averaged 11, and he's going to be facing SGA, which is a huge problem for him because if scores 35 points a game and Halliburton is scoring 10 points, that they're not going to win a game. They need their point guard to get points on the board and get their players open. All you need for your point guard. You need him to contribute in passing and scoring. He hasn't been contributing on the scoring part.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you can say about both of these teams is that they would not be where they are without Paul George. The Thunder traded George to the Los Angeles Clippers in 2019 in a deal that landed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a draft pick that was used on Williams. Oklahoma City has a player who won an NBA title in Alex Caruso, who helped the Lakers win the 2020 crown, but that's still all right. Sidebar: the Lakers were stupid to let Caruso go, and I will stand in that boat taking all of the waves on possible because it was just stupid. They haven't had a point guard since, and Luka is not a point guard, not naturally, but he is a good facilitator. LeBron James is not a point guard. The point guard that they had, they traded away. They haven't had a point guard. But anyway, back on topic. Well, the but you really have to think like each team helped build their current lineup by trading NBA star Paul George. The Pacers sent him to the Thunder in 2017 for players that were later traded for Halliburton and draft picks that landed Andrew Nembhard and Ben Shepherd. So, really, without Paul George being traded to the Thunder and then later to the Clippers, I'm not sure these teams would be here at this moment in time.
I was surprised when Paul George got traded from the Pacers. He was amazing for the Pacers. But I think that OKC played it very well because not only did they get Shea, they got Jalen Williams, which is young and producing. He averages over 20 points, and he's only like 22, 23. And then you got Chet Holmgren, which adds a bunch of size to your lineup. You're going to want size in the NBA. But I think they played their draft picks very well. And having this young roster really helps. And no, Siakam isn't that young player anymore. He's not young, but he can still ball. And that's what the Pacers want for the team. They need Siakam to play. If he doesn't play like he did in the last series, this is just going to be game 4.
Yeah. And on that note, I have a special treat for everybody. We are going to start playing ridiculous plays that you probably forgot about. And this is the NBA's version of the ridiculous play. And no, it's not from this time, but just indulge me.
Iverson now with it for Denver. Got fouled and won. Wow.
And you look at Allen Iverson, puts the ball on the floor. He realizes, okay, I got a guy wide open. He's looking at Anthony Carter, but then he hears the whistle and gets the ball up.
Okay. Allen Iverson was just a completely different breed. Allen Iverson, my God. You're not going to see plays like that in today's NBA. And no, I'm not hating on today's NBA. Today's NBA is super talented. But when it came to AI, dude was on a different planet.
That crossover was his main move, and I wasn't even watching when AI was balling, but we've seen maybe a few plays like that these days. We've seen SGA do something like that, but not that crazy. That era of basketball, I wish I was alive for.
But yeah, man, Allen Iverson was different. All you can do is look back at the highlights. But hey, we have somebody just as talented, just a little bit different. It's not exactly crossovers. It's not breathtaking, shift-defying layups, but it is Steph Curry. Here's your additional ridiculous play.
Just came off a tough road trip with 4 games to go. Wow, Curry, he is on one tonight.
And then again here, that's most guys would get pulled from the game for taking that shot. But Steph Curry.
So yeah, there are your ridiculous highlights, the NBA final version. So that's what we're going with. Next up, we really need to discuss the Atlanta Braves problems. Oh my gosh. Sorry, a little bit of fandom rolling through here. I have been a Braves fan. Oh, why not? I'll give you the story why I'm a Braves fan in Kansas. Why wouldn't you be a Kansas City Royals fan? Well, I am when they're good. Leave me alone. Not really. I'm a Braves fan because my grandpa liked watching Braves games. He also liked watching Cubbies games. My brother is a Cubbies fan. I'm a Braves fan. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And man, the 90s Braves were something to behold. But when it comes to the 2025 version, they are just on a different level of ineptitude, to put it PG version, because that's what this podcast is I try to keep it PG so everybody can watch it. But everybody thought that when Bryce Elder came back, we were going to be good. We needed our ace. Our pitching would soon follow, because Schellenbacher, he already had some really good outings early in the season. So we just needed Bryce Elder to show up and everything was going to be great. And then Acuna's been out. We thought when he came back, everything was going to be great. The Braves cannot seem to hit the broad side of the barn, and the Braves definitely can't seem to find the strike zone. It has been putrid, but I'll give it to them. They have a 29-31 record, so they came back to the horrible, horrible start to the season that they had, but it's just they're 10 games back from the Mets. They've won 3 out of their last 10 games. It's bad. People are calling for Snitker's head in Atlanta, to put it lightly. If you see anything on Twitter, nobody, and I mean nobody, likes how the Braves are playing right now.
Yeah, the pitching has been a huge problem. Strider hasn't had time to adjust back. I'm pretty sure he came back from a year-long injury. I think it was his right elbow. It's not easy to come back from that. We've seen in different sports how it's not easy to come back from injury. But I think if we give him time to adjust back, he could go back to his normal self, like what he was playing like last year. It's not just that either. Pitching has been bad, but we have superstars on this team, Matt Olson and Albies, but they've been struggling too. Their hitting averages have gone down since the beginning of the year. It's just been bad. They're not executing. Defensively, they've been okay when we hit the strike zone. But other than that, it's all coaching, and then It's just players in general.
I mean, there's one thing that the Braves recently did. They brought back Freddie Gonzalez, who was a former manager, and he's going to be acting as the third base coach. But something is going to have to give, because the Braves were predicted to take a run at the Los Angeles Dodgers, and in a 7-game series, if they played right now, the Braves would get completely swept and drug around like they were a redheaded stepchild. Sorry for the visualization, but that is what they would act like. You know, they can't hit the ball, they can't pitch. It's just nothing is going right now. I mean, if you really want to talk about it right now, they're losing to the Arizona Diamondbacks currently being played. They're just not good. And that is why Brian Snitker, he brought back Freddie Gonzalez, because they needed a familiar face. They needed a guy with experience that was going to be able to help this team. But there's just too many injuries. Marcelo Zuna, he's out. And it's just, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, really, the Cubs are playing better than the Braves right now. And that hurts my soul.
Yeah, there's been a lot of struggles in the Braves offense and defense. You don't want that if you want to compete against a team like the Dodgers. It's not going to be easy. The Dodgers have a great lineup, they have depth, but I think their main problem is the hitting. Because if they can get that hitting average up, if Olsen can get it up, Albies, they'll be okay in that category. But other than that, I think we need Strider to do a little better. I mean, he might adjust games going on, but we really don't know after the injury. I think we have to give it time, or coaches need to let him rest a little more. I don't know.
I mean, my biggest thing out of the Freddie Gonzalez hire is I'm really hoping that after the Braves fired hitting coach Kevin Seitzer, I'm hoping that bringing in Gonzalez can kind of ramp up their hitting. I know it's probably fool's gold at this moment in time, but you know, you just have to wonder what's going on, because they have the talent, they have the players. It just doesn't make sense why they are struggling so bad so early, especially after the 2-9 start to the season. It's just where Spencer Strider returned again. You know, it wasn't going good for him. I do know that it is a long season for the MLB, but you're 10 games out of first place in the East, and you're just sitting there not making any improvements whatsoever. So I don't know. It kind of feels like it's going to be a long season for the Braves.
Yeah, it's an 81 game season. They can rack some wins up. I mean, we're hardly into the season, but they need to make some changes. If they don't make any changes, they're just gonna lose game after game. Of course, the pitching needs to get better. I mean, you can see the strike zone. I think the new hire at third base will be good. Like you said, familiar face, but it also goes on the players too. It's not just the coaching. Coaching only gets you so far if you don't have the skilled players doing what they need to do. They make all that money for a reason. They need to go out there and fix their hitting averages, their pitching. It's just been bad.
It's just crazy, because just 2 weeks ago, you know, since the Braves exited Fenway Park, having produced a National League best 19-10 record from April 18th to May 18th, They had won 5 of 6 and seemed ready to roll, especially with Ronald Acuna coming back, later in the same week. But 2 weeks later, Atlanta concluded its home series against the Red Sox with a 3-1 loss on last Sunday. And that promising stretch seems to be in the rearview mirror. Braves are now 27-31 and lost 8 of their last 11, and that have followed the series at Fenway and now sit just 3.5 games ahead of the last place Marlins in the NL East, which are 23-24. So something is going to have to happen, especially it's going to be interesting to see how this Marcell Ozuna hip injury is handled, because the Braves need Ozuna out there. So are they just going to have to push the envelope, or are they going to let him sit because he is the Braves' designated hitter? The first 2 months haven't destroyed the confidence of a team that is seeking an 8th straight postseason berth. But having a strong psyche hasn't necessarily guaranteed consistent success in these clutch situations. The Braves went 4 for 26 with runners in scoring position while dropping 2 of 3 to the Red Sox this weekend. They rank 18th among all MLB teams with a .247 batting average. They've constructed with RASP this season. Now, conversely, the National League West leading Dodgers are hitting .321, and the NL Central leading Cubs are hitting .296. Once again, the Braves are hitting .247. It's not the be-all, end-all type of stat, but the Braves have gone 3-8 while hitting .267 with runners in scoring position since May 20th. They hit a comparable .273 in these situations during the 19-10 stretch that concluded on May 18th. Inconsistencies is the name of the game when it comes to the Braves this season, and there's no other way to cut it.
Yeah, statistics don't lie. Stats show everyone that the Braves have been struggling. Their consistency has been down. You need to be consistent when you have an 81-game season. You can lose some games and you can win some games, but you can't lose 20%. You can't, let me rephrase that. You can't lose 80% of your games and expect a good record. You're not going to compete with the rest of your conference if you're just losing back-to-back games. There's a lot of problems with the Braves right now. They need to fix it, whether the coaching will fix it or the players. And as you said, injuries. Injuries are a huge thing recently for the Braves.
When you have Marcell Ozuna, you have Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, who have all performed, who are the meat of your lineup when it comes to hitting. And then you have to put some of the blame on the pitching staff that has posted a 3.27 ERA over the last 11 games. 7 of those 8 losses over the last 11 games have been by 2 runs or less. Each of Atlanta's 3 wins within the stretch has been by at least 5 runs. But unfortunately, this has been a season-long trend. Once again, short season so far. The Braves are 9-14 in 1-run games. The only teams with more 1-run losses are the White Sox at 3-15 and the Red Sox at 6-15.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what they're going to do with the team. It's not like they have a horrible team. There's teams out there doing much worse than they are, but they have a bad team. They don't have the superstar players that the Braves have. I thought coming into this year they would succeed more than last year. But, I mean, you really can't tell right now since, like I said, 81 game season. It's not like other sports. But I think if they want to succeed, they need to figure out their batting situation.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure out their batting situation. They're going to have to figure out their pitching situation because right now they are in a tough stretch and they're playing the Arizona Cardinals right now. We'll see how that ends up working out. But right now they are currently losing. And yeah, things are not looking good in Atlanta. But that will never stop me from cheering them on, of course. You know, at least they are not the White Sox. At least they are not the Colorado Rockies. They were at one point, probably like a decade ago. I remember them building up the roster. That took a while. Unlike other leagues, it takes quite some time for a crappy MLB team to become successful because it's not like you draft Peyton Manning and he turns around your franchise within a couple of years. Now these kids, they got to go to single A, high A, double A, triple A. They got to go. Yeah, they got to do all that. So yeah, we will see what happens with the Atlanta Braves, but that is going to be it for our welcome back episode. Just wanted to say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you have not subscribed to us on YouTube or followed the Hot Zone Sports, the Burn podcast on Facebook, or Hot Zone Sports in general on all social media, go ahead and do so. And down below, you can see our Instagram, hot.zone.sports on Instagram, and Jordan Van Dever on Instagram as well. And just a heads up, he does not accept everybody. So don't get butthurt. But that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And just a friendly reminder, Hot Zone Sports is back, and we're back on that grind. Until next time, we will see you. Hot Zone Sports, the Burn, out.